currently in California again, and all of the little children around me have the plague.
A lot of people spend a lot of time really sick, all needing help, and all alone. And that's not how we're designed.
There are things that you can do to strengthen your natural immune systems.
We're going to talk about some herbs and some formulas that we can go to when we feel like we're getting sick or when we're actually experiencing some symptoms.
This might be the episode we get canceled.
I can't emphasize it enough. Go to bed. Welcome to Herbalism Uncensored, the podcast where we dig deep into the world of herbalism and natural healing. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Lila. We're two clinical herbalists who recognize the need for honest and authentic conversations about the state of natural healing today. As practitioners, we feel called to have uncensored discussions about why people aren't finding relief and what to do about it.
If you're frustrated by lack of results, overwhelmed by conflicting advice online, disillusioned by the commercialization of wellness, or simply passionate about natural healing, you're in the right place.
This podcast is our way of cutting through the noise, busting myths, and challenging marketing gimmicks.
This is Herbalism Uncensored,
where together we're nurturing the future of natural healing.
The contents of this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to be a substitute in any way for professional medical advice, treatment, or diagnosis. It's important that you always seek the advice of your physician or other licensed healthcare provider with any questions or concerns you may have regarding a medical condition. Welcome to this week's episode of Herbalism Uncensored. We're going to talk about cold and flu today.
It seems to be going around. I've had multiple clients reach out asking for cold and flu remedies, and I'm currently in California again, and all of the little children around me have the plague.
The plague?
The plague. They're all just like, little children coughing and doing little children mucusy things, and trying to catch the plague.
Yeah, and kids, oh man, because they're already so moist and wet, and then they get all mucusy. It's it seems like they get even more moist and wet than we do when we get the cold. But yeah, it's cold and flu season. I was looking at some stats that Americans get more than 1 billion colds a year. The CDC estimates 9.3 million to 41 million. That's a big range, illnesses annually. And we know that flu testing is not accurate. So that just means that there's that many people going to the doctor saying, I have the flu and getting tested for it. And then you have that, gosh, I think this might be the first year that I haven't had it. The lingering cough, chronic bronchitis, acute bronchitis. Acute bronchitis accounts for an estimated 12 to 14 million physician visits per year. So this is something that everybody deals with. And if you're not dealing with it right now, you probably know someone who is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we use kind of cold and flu as an umbrella term, but the flu can encompass all kinds of other viruses, and it's a little bit of a catch-all just because there's so many things that cause the same symptoms that we're just going to lump it all in together. Cold and flu.
Yeah. These are your aches, your pains, your stuffy noses, your scratchy throat, your cough. We're going to talk about some different kinds of cough and, different things to do for different kinds of coughing issues. So, this is, yeah, I think we're going to talk about how it starts, what to do about it, when to do the things, and when to not do the things. So, should we get started?
Yeah, we'll give practical takeaways and some of our favorite formulas. And I want to reiterate that it's not inevitable that you catch the cold and flu every season. It's something that can be worked on. You can strengthen your immune system. You can do the things that strengthen your body against the cold and flu. And I think one of the reasons that it happens so prevalently in the winter is one, the season, right? It gets cold, it gets wet, our body's dealing with new things, but also it's so easy to go off the rails for the holidays. And this is a time when people are eating more sugar, they're staying out later, they're more stressed with finances and family events, and it stirs up a lot of things. So if you're aware of those things that can kind of weaken your defense system, then you maybe can do better next season you get the cold and flu.
No, yeah, thank you for mentioning that because I mean, kind of like a throwback to our last episode. This is a time when we should be hibernating a little bit. We should be sleeping later and going to bed earlier. And it's cold out, and it's not a time to go, go, go and deplete ourselves. That depletes our Wei Qi. That's our immune defense, our first line of defense, right? Well, I don't know. In Ayurveda, we say like the ego is our first line of defense. But then in traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about the Wei Qi, like that's the gatekeeper. That's what keeps the gate closed and it keeps the external pathogens out. And I love the barley farmer metaphor, where like the idea is, any disease, any illness that you get, you think of the farmer. He's out, he's working, he's in the wind, he's in the elements, and these external pathogens. In traditional Chinese medicine, they called it's the evil chi comes and attacks. Or I recently read something I hadn't heard before, the thief wind comes and attacks this farmer. And if the farmer's Wei Qi isn't strong enough, then it enters into his body and becomes pathological. So we're talking about wind, chill, wet clothes, long day outside, not enough rest, poor sleep, underfed. And if we're not protecting ourselves against these things, it invades through the nose, the throat, the skin. I mean, we know this. Think about coronavirus. Like everybody with their hand sanitizer and their Clorox wipes, and then we found out it's an airborne illness. So it's coming in on the wind that we inhale, and then it sinks deeper into the body if it's not resolved.
Just want to reiterate something there because you said a lot of really good stuff, but to put it in like just like the simplest terms, your body has natural defense systems built in against viruses and bacteria. And it's usually only when your body's compromised in some way that those things can invade or take root in the system. So, although we've normalized like cold and flus are inevitable, or I'm around a bunch of kids, I get cold and flus regularly, there are things that you can do to strengthen your natural immune systems. If coming in contact with bacteria and viruses automatically causes us to be sick, we would always be sick because there are so many things in our environment that we're constantly coming into contact with. It is a matter of making our defenses stronger, not trying to avoid the world. That's my opinion. I don't touch hand sanitizer.
I am not a fan of hand sanitizer. I mean, I believe in building my immune system. I've talked about this before. If it's windy outside, I wear a scarf. I keep my neck covered. I mean, we talk about, going outside when it's 50 degrees outside with your midriff hanging out, then you're not protecting the sensitive parts of your body. And we need to dress appropriately for the weather, sleep when we're tired, nourish ourselves. All of these things strengthen our body's defense system.
Okay, let's jump into some good stuff here.
All right.
Alicia, tell us about the barley farmer.
Well, that's what I said. The barley farmer is out in the elements and he is exposed to wind, chill, wet clothes, overwork, poor sleep, not enough nourishment. The evil chi comes in. It can come in on the wind. It can come in through, yeah, I mean, I want to say like, I feel like the evil chi comes on the wind, or the thief wind comes through. It invades the system. And then there's different stages, right? So like the early stage is an opportunity to sweat the evil chi out. We call it, say, release the exterior. This is the time to go to the sauna, wrap up in a blanket, induce sweating, maybe do some light exercise. No, we're not talking about a hit cardio. I'm talking about just enough to induce a little bit of sweating. If it gets past that stage and sets in, now we're talking about the difference between when you feel like you're coming down with a cold and you rest and sweat and nourish and it doesn't really set in. But once it really sets in and now you've got a cold and you're going to be sick for a week or more, we want to clear the heat, transform the phlegm, meaning like get the phlegm out, however that looks like. And we're going to talk more about that later. And then towards the end, we want to rebuild and recover with rest, tonics, gentle nourishment. And it's important that we don't tonify too early. When you're in that early stage, when it's just setting in, it's time to sweat it out and push it out. Your body gets really confused if you try to detoxify and tonify at the same time. So we want to detoxify and get the evil chi out and then tonify and rebuild our systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So in Chinese medicine, they have internal categorizations and external disease categorizations. And these things that we're talking about, the cold and flu, are external. They're external. So think respiratory issues, think cold, think flu, fevers, things that are in this outer layer of your body, the respiratory tract, the sinuses, the skin, they are still in this external layer. And because of that, we can open that external layer and release them, get them pushed out. But if things get too deep and they get back into our internal layer, then that's when we have like chronic issues or more deep illnesses, other things that take a stronger root in the body. So I think that makes total sense. And it mirrors what, some of Ayurvedic's concepts of, sweat it out, use heat therapy. They are saying very similar things, which I think is always cool when they line up. But yeah, it's a great line of defense. When your body has a fever, it has a fever for a reason. I don't think we should immediately jump in and try and reduce the fever. The fever's not the problem. The fever's a symptom of the problem. Your body's fighting something off. So I think that's also sometimes a strategy.
Well, the fever is the solution to the problem.
Yes.
Your body heats up to detoxify itself, to push things out. And I mean, and I want to be clear because I don't want to sound too woo. When I say things like evil chi and thief wind, I'm talking about bacteria and viruses.
You're in the metaphor, though.
It's just semantics. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the Ayurvedic equivalent to evil chi would. Although Ayurveda might just name pathogens, like they talk about worms and they talk about they might just name pathogens.
Creamy.
Yeah,
Creamy.
it might not be as they might not have as cute of a metaphor there.
Well, I mean, creamy that applies to parasites, like all little bugs. So that applies to parasites, it applies to bacteria, it applies to viruses. And, your body should be able to be exposed to creamy and detoxify them, without it becoming a pathogenic problem. If your ahamkara is strong enough, your ego, your first line of defense. And in Ayurveda, it all comes down to, like, when I say ahamkara, I'll say my sense of self. Like, am I secure in my sense of self, my purpose in the world, my place in it? And then the next layer would be my digestion. Is my digestion strong enough to assimilate nutrients and differentiate between nutrients and toxins and excrete the toxins?
Yeah. And I just want to iterate, like, no shame for anyone that gets the cold and flu. That's, we don't live in a environment that makes it very easy to stay in balance at all. Like, everything in the environment is working against our ability to have strong defense systems, but it's something to work towards. If you do get regular cold and flus, it does not have to be your normal.
Well, and I'll say this just for myself, like, I get exposed. I'm around a lot of people, and I feel like you asked before we started the episode, have I gotten the cold and flu this year? And I said no. And, I haven't gotten the cold and flu this year, but I have been exposed. I have had that feeling like, ooh, I think I'm coming down with something. I'm a little bit warm. I'm a little bit tired. My nose is a little bit stuffy. And I think that I can nip it in the bud quickly at that exposure point before it penetrates and sets in and becomes true pathology. And I think, and that's why I'll just reiterate, man, release the exterior. I always begin with a good sweat if I feel like I'm coming down with something, and rest. And then I hit it with some herbs, man. So we're going to talk about some herbs and some formulas that we can go to when when we feel like we're getting sick or when we're actually experiencing some symptoms.
Yeah. One thing I just want to bring up, because I wonder if you had a similar or not similar experience, but in my family, growing up like we grew up, if someone was sick, like you didn't avoid them, like they could still hang out. You didn't go quarantine them. We still share beverages. Like we do not do any of like the, oh, that person's sick, stay away. Like I'm hugging on my little nieces and nephews. I treat them exactly the same as when they're not sick. And I, for the most part, don't get very many cold and flus. Every once in a while, I'll get like a pretty gnarly one and it'll, knock me out for a few days, then I'm back. But I don't get a lot of cold and flus at this point in my life. I haven't gotten one this season. I can't remember the last time I got one. And I just don't treat it like it's a thing to avoid. It's whatever, it's life. I trust my body. And if I do get sick, I do the things that we talk about. So is that your experience?
Oh gosh, you brought up quarantine culture. Thank you. Thank
So I
you for
had to.
bringing. No, well, this should be talked about because something has happened and there's been a huge cultural shift because I mean, like, I spent 20 years in the restaurant industry where you go to work no matter what. And then, like, suddenly 5 years ago, if you've got the sniffles, you stay home and you don't need a doctor's note or anything like that. Which, I mean, I think there's benefits to that because that was an abusive policy. Come to work even if you have strep throat, unless you have a note from a doctor, and nobody who works in a restaurant has health insurance. So, and they don't exactly make a whole bunch of money and have a lot of cash laying around to go to the doctor. But the quarantine culture, there's a balance to everything. And yeah, growing up, when I was sick or when someone was sick, we didn't share beverages. It was, hey, don't drink after me because I'm sick. But we still spent time with each other. We still hugged each other. We still ate meals together. People still left the house. Today, it's this weird thing because there's so much fear around, the common cold is a coronavirus, and there's so much fear around any kind of coronavirus that, you know, I try to stay away from people if I feel like I'm getting sick because I don't want to get them sick and then it can disrupt their lives so drastically. People have to cancel all of their clients or call into work and things like that. But I think there's a lot to be said about like bundling up and staying warm and resting when appropriate. But also, man, isolation is not good for our health. And there's a s- there's an aspect to the isolation of the quarantine culture that I would say kind of fills me with regret and sadness because like laughter is medicine. Good, yeah, friendship and fellowship is medicine. All of these things are things that these are human needs, and we don't stop needing them because we have a cold or because we have the flu.
I know we're brushing up against something a little political. This might be the episode we get canceled, but I think in the
Well, it's
whole,
medical.
it is
It's
it
medical.
is.
It's wellness. I don't know why that's political.
It just happened to be. But I think at the end of the day, and there's nuance to all of this, right? Like there are people that are immunocompromised and shouldn't go out in certain times. There are like there's a whole spectrum of things going on here. It's not black and white. But I think at the end of the day, you have to choose like where you put your belief system. And is it in avoidance or is it in strengthening your body? Is it a blend of both? It's a very personal choice, but I think it's just like I just want to like shout from the rooftops. Your body was built to handle these things. And if you keep your body right, if you treat your body right, if you're taking herbs, you're well nutrient status, you're eating right, you're working out, you're doing the things, then trust in your body's ability to do what it needs to do, because that state of fear Alicia talked about is going to compromise you. Being in a state of fear, if you are afraid of catching the flu, if you're out in the world afraid, fear is going to cause your body to be weaker. You are going to be walking around in fight or flight. Your nervous system's going to be dysregulated. Your immune system's going to be dysregulated. All of these things are not going to be as strong as they can be when you confidently move through the world, trusting your body.
Fear is exhausting and depleting.
All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. Fear is exhausting and depleting, and I also agree, and I'll just like reiterate that I understand that that we talk about this all the time. This is not a one size fits all thing, right? Everyone is individual. Some people are immunocompromised. Some people have, in Ayurveda, we call it bala, like the strength of the patient. Some people have more bala. Some people naturally are just like born with less bala. There's part of it is genetic. You say that you can't remember the last time you had the cold or flu. I said that this is the first winter, maybe the second winter in the last 20 years that I haven't landed with some kind of chronic bronchitis. But, we have to look at our genetics. We have to look at our upbringing. How are we nourished growing up? How were our parents nourished growing up? How were our grandparents nourished growing up? Because I began not as a fetus inside my mother, but as an egg inside my grandmother. So her lifestyle and her experiences, and my mother's and my father's lifestyle and experiences all contributed to the strength that I have today to fight off pathogens. And so everyone is going to be individual, and there's no if somebody feels like they need to stay in, if everybody needs to, I preach this constantly, practice awareness, listen to your body, do what's right for you. But I think that I might be projecting here, but I think that what we're getting at is don't let somebody else, and don't let someone on Facebook or on the television tell you what's right for your body. And if you need friendship and fellowship and laughter, and someone else is telling you that you need to isolate yourself from other people, listen to your heart. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm like 10% a little nervous about putting out these opinions just because it was no, I'm not even just talking. Well, no, you're right. There was a major cultural shift. And I just want to stay home and take care of yourself when you have a cold or flu is appropriate, right? Like stay in bed, be calm, don't do what I did. I remember in high school, one time I was so effing sick with, I don't know, a cold or flu, or like it was whatever I had was bad. And I had to go play basketball still. Like I couldn't miss the basketball games. And I remember, do you know the Fisherman's Wharf's like cough drops?
The fisherman friends. I've got a box over
Yeah.
here. I love those
Yeah.
things.
I had to keep one in my mouth while on the court so I could breathe. And it was like kind of traumatic because I was like, I can't breathe. And I'm like running up against down the court. And I'm already like the 6'2" center that's slow. So I already felt like I couldn't keep up. And oh my God, see, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Don't push yourself. And I mean, it's okay to cancel plans and things like that. I mean, I think that it comes down to like listening to ourselves and doing what feels right for us as individuals. But I mean, and it's no secret that I mean, everyone talks about this. I don't know if they talk about it online. I'm not really in the online arena, but I mean, the truth of the matter is that the entire world is traumatized from the things that took place in 2020 and 2021. And there is a fear response, there is a trauma response, there is a fear response. And a lot of people spend a lot of time really sick, all needing help and all alone. And that's not how we're designed. We're all here to help each other. We're not designed to be isolated.
Lisa, I don't think I got the coronavirus the entire 5 years.
I did for sure. I did for sure. And I stayed home and I took a bunch of Chinese herbs and I was very sick for about 4 days. And then it was probably 6 months before I could go to a yoga class without having to break because I was having a hard time catching my breath. I had to really do some things to build my lung tissue and enhance my ability to inhale afterwards. It was pretty severe.
Wow. Do you
But
do you
I'm
feel like you have any stuff now? Like any
like
post-COVID stuff now?
lingering
Yeah.
effects. No, no. I took because it was so I this was the funny thing. It was like it was June of 2020. I got sick. It was like a time where there was a surge. I lived in live in a Monty Python film, because everybody says like go get tested. Well, how long does it take to get over the virus? 2 weeks. Well, how long does it take to get the test results? 2 weeks. So go get tested, and if you're positive, quarantine yourself until you test negative. So I drive like 45 minutes from my house to get a bottle brush stuck up my nose so far that it touches the back of my eyeball,
Cool. So
and
bad.
I wait 2 weeks for my results, and my results were inconclusive. But I will say, as with all of the health challenges that I've had over the years, I've never had issues breathing. My lungs are strong, my lungs feel good, and I felt like I had bricks on my chest. It was not easy to breathe. And then what happened for several months afterwards is every month when I had the bleeding days of my cycle and I lost my life force, right? There's a weakening at that time for women. The symptoms would reemerge. I'd have a reoccurrence. There would be a little bit of fever. There would be some achiness, some stuffy nose. And so I went on a regimen of some really strong immune building herbs, like and antivirals for several months because I think that it was like laying low in my system. And when I lost my life force, it was reemerging. It was like, oh, because my Wei Qi just got weak enough or depleted enough that evil Qi was like, ha, 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 I got you now, and came back to the surface. But with some different herbs to increase my Wei Qi and build my immune system, as well as some other things that were specific for the lungs to help to tonify my lung tissue, I made a full recovery. But it was it was low and slow.
Well, let's dive in and start talking about some of the things you do, the things we do, the things we have our clients do. Because there's some really cool formulas in here that I just think everybody should stock in their house. And can I throw out a little caveat disclaimer is we talk about a lot of really cool herbs on here and people reach out and say, where do I get that cool herb? We do not have a good traditional Chinese medicine source that is consumer facing. But we should work on that because we're going to keep talking about really cool herbs. We want to give people like a place to get them. But right now, I think all of our best options are you have to be a practitioner to order from. So we're about to talk about some really cool herbs, and I hope people can find them or we can help people find them so they can actually use
Yeah.
them.
Well, I mean, I think that as far as like with traditional Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese herbs, that is kind of the way of it that, these things are like prescriptions. They're not prescriptions because they're not medicines, but they're like prescriptions. You get these things from practitioners. You get them from your acupuncturist. You get them from people like us because the people who sell them only sell them to practitioners. And while it's unfortunate, I don't think it's really unreasonable because some of the things that we get, like you can't just, there's a lot of misuse, or I would say misconceptions and misguided use of herbs. And it's impossible to do that with traditional Chinese herbs. Now, a lot of these things are available on like eBay and Etsy and Amazon, But at the same time, you want to make sure you're getting them from a trusted source. You want to make sure that the herbs are unsulfured. You want to make sure there's third-party testing. And yes, when it comes to that kind of stuff, the quality supplements, they are only available to practitioners. Somebody sent an email about some Chinese herbs after the last episode, and I'll say this on the air. Plum Flower Herbs is a trusted brand. It is like platinum quality traditional Chinese herbs. And sometimes it is available on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be sold on Amazon, but sometimes people break the
Somebody's selling
rules.
them on Amazon, and Plum Flower is an excellent supplier.
Yeah. Well, my point being, maybe if there's certain things like, I think some of these herbs we're about to talk about, like everybody should have stocked in their house for cold and flu season, so maybe we can facilitate a way for people to get those. I don't know. I'm racking my brain because we're going to talk about them, but they're like you have these on hand for when you get sick stuff.
Well, but you use different ones at different times. And we're going to talk about that too. I mean, I keep all of these things in store, and it's interesting to me, like my clients, I have to tell people frequently. I'll have a client that I'm working with like a metabolic disorder, or somebody who has like some hormonal disruption, women's issues, and they get a cold and they don't reach out to me. But I work with people who have colds too. Yeah, I can help with these things. And I do keep all of these things in stock and like stock up before colds. About October, there's a big order for all of the things that we're going to talk about. So, should we get started?
Yes. Let's do it.
So, you were talking a lot, went into the immune and boundary support, that you don't have to get a cold. And the first one I want to mention is Jade Screen, which is called, it's Yu Ping Feng San. And the theme is to strengthen the fence. This is the surface defense. This is to increase your Wei Qi, keep the gate closed. It's an immune builder and defensive Qi supporter. I took Jade Screen for a long time. I really enjoy it. I'm very impressed with how well it works.
Were you taking it tea or capsules?
I like the tea. I'm not a big fan of the because it wasn't capsules. The tea pills, because I don't know what China wax is. Do you know what China wax is?
I don't ask questions. I just take my medicine.
Yeah, I don't know what China wax is made out of. And with all of my like corn sensitivities and soy sensitivities, I stick with the teas, I stick with the extracts rather than the tea pills.
Yeah. So to reiterate, this is a preventative. If you get a acute cold or flu, it's not a great go-to because these things are a little slower, a little take longer to build in the system, going to be more beneficial over time. It's, again, great preventative, strengthen the immune system, all these things, but that's work to do ahead of cold and flu season. Not when you're like, oh, shoot, I got the cold and flu. What am I going to do?
It's the kind of thing that if you get the cold and flu every year, maybe when it starts to become cold and flu season, you start taking Jade Screen every day. The standout herb is Astragalus, which is known to increase the Wei Qi, and we have some modern research that shows that it increases white cell count. So it actually enables your body to fight infection more efficiently.
Yeah, it's a great tonifying immune building herb, astragalus. But the dose has to be high and you have to take it for a long time.
Yeah, and it has an affinity for the lung tissue.
I'm just like thinking about how many pounds of astragalus you've probably taken in your life.
So many. So many. But I love astragalus, and and the cool thing about astragalus, like if you do take it as tea in large doses, unlike most Chinese medicines or and things that you would drink in large doses as tea, it's really mild. It doesn't have a nasty flavor. It kind of to me it smells like peanut butter. Like you can mix it with chicken broth. Like I'll often put some astragalus in soups when I'm making soups in the wintertime. It just yeah, I mean it's very food like. It's not something you have to hold your nose and slug it down. You
Yeah.
can and you can sip it. You can enjoy it.
It's good stuff. Okay, I'd say this next two we're going to talk about are the very like I'm in the early stage. The stick is coming on. I'm in that very beginning, starting to get the aches and pains, and you know it's coming. These are the two herbs, and we'll talk about kind of their distinctions and when to take which ones. But these are the ones, in my opinion, like if you use them at the right timing, like they will knock it out. They will stop it in there. Can't talk. They'll stop things in their tracks, and you're not going to, be 7 to 10 days out with a cold and flu. So the first one, Gao Miao Ling, is when, so I think of this one when you have fever. Like you're getting cold and sick and it's coming on, but like you have more like heat signs.
That's interesting. I always think of like yin because so there's Ganmao Ling and Yin Chao are the two things that the two remedies we're talking about here. These are both Chinese formulas. They both have several ingredients. The Yin Chao, I always think of it in like the early stages. Like we're talking first 8 hours. If you hit it hard with the Yin Chao, and the Yin Chao has a bunch of honeysuckle in it, you're gonna sweat. Oh my God. Like I did this was it was sometime in the last year. I felt like I was getting sick and I took a bunch of yin chow early on and I laid in my bed and I was like swimming in my blankets. I was just sweating profusely, but it'll make you sweat things out before it sets in. Whereas the Ganmao Ling, the has the Estatides in it, which is think about it like I mean, Estatides, it's a fantastic antiviral. So now it's like I have a virus and I need to fight the virus. That's how I always think about it. Yeah, the Ganmao Ling is like after the first 8 hours. Like I'm at work, I feel like I'm getting sick. I don't have any yin chow with me. I can't leave, or I'm on a road trip for whatever reason. I can't do anything about this cold until I feel like I've already been getting sick for more than 8 hours, or it's like day two and I can hit it heavy with the Genmao Ling.
Take them in tea pills because so every time I have somebody take them, I'll use tea pills or an extract. And if you do the tea pills, I want you to take like the whole bottle in a day.
And
And
one
nobody
does
can
it.
do it. No one can do it. They're like, I took
They don't
10
believe
and
you.
tea pills are so tiny. Like it's an extract of herb, and like the amount of herb in the bottle is like, if Alicia was going to brew this up as tea, it's like her tea dose. But because it's like a whole bottle and there's 100 tea pills in there, people don't do it. And so it doesn't knock their cold and flu out. But you have to hit it so hard up front and nobody will do it.
Yeah,
Nobody will do it.
I don't like there's some kind of a disconnect when you say take a whole bottle. And, we have a client, we have someone that we kind of work with together a little bit, what I'm talking about. And I think you told him to take the whole bottle. He has a cold right now, and you told him to take a whole bottle of Genmao Ling, and that wasn't happening. And I said, take 20, because there's 120, or no, I think it was 220 pills in a bottle. I told him take 20 pills every hour. And he got the bottle down in one day. And then I was like, okay, continue doing that. And I haven't spoken to him, so I don't know if he continued to do that or not. But yeah, I mean, people, I don't know, it's like they just don't hear it because it's so foreign to what we're used to doing. You take what's the antiviral? Like you take a Z-Pack, you take one pill a day. And we're like, no, take 220 pills a day. I mean, you can swallow
so
20 of them
tiny.
at a time. They're so tiny.
They're so tiny. They're like grains of rice. Like they're tiny. Or like couscous or something. I don't know. Some round.
Mhm.
And it doesn't help that the serving size says 8 tea pills on the back. But again, any serving size on herbs or supplements is not coming from clinicians. It's to cover your ass. It's what we're putting on just to put on. Like it's not an actual clinical dosing. And so it's so funny because I feel like a little broken record sometimes with the dosing, like getting the dosing up, which it comes with its own challenges, right? Like there's financial considerations, there's, practical considerations, but for a lot of these things to be effective, you gotta hit them kind of hard.
Yeah, especially when we're at a sense where if you're taking Ganmao Ling or Yin Chao, you're not taking these things because it's cold season and you're hoping to not catch a cold. You have a cold. You are getting a cold, and it is, you want to do something to knock it out, hit it early. We're being a little aggressive here because we're trying to stop something from becoming, this is an acute situation. This is an acute situation, and we don't want it to become a dangerous acute situation. So we're going in guns a-blazing. Oh my God, can
Yeah.
I say gun?
This is probably gonna get we
We're
already
gonna
said
get
enough trigger
canceled. This
words that
episode is gonna
it's
get us
done. It's
canceled.
over. Okay.
YouTube's like,
Before
we've had enough of y'all.
before you cancel us, I would seriously look into some of both of these formulas, the Ling Chao and the Gao Ling, just to have on hand for the family and have on hand for you to just be on the ready when the cold and flu does hit. These are both pretty reliable. Even if you mix them up, like they both have a lot of really great ingredients and they will 100% cut the shortness time in half of probably less.
Yeah, I'll take a moment and make a note because a lot of these formulas I know the Yin Chao has honeysuckle in it. I think that Ganmaling has chrysanthemum, but I know that even like some different formulas they'll kind of use them interchangeably. And chrysanthemum and honeysuckle are aimed at clearing the head. They have an upward moving energy. It's upward and outward. So we're thinking like, when you're stuffed up, you have a stuffy head, these are some good go-tos, and looking for formulas that have these items in them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I was just gonna say the Western equivalent is elderflower, isn't it? Like you can if you are in a bind, you can't find chrysanthemum or honeysuckle, elderflower would be your next best bet as like the Western alternative that might be more readily available.
Absolutely. And then cough, man.
Dude, people are getting wicked coughs right now.
People get wicked coughs.
People get wicked coughs.
So, I think it's important that, and we kind of led up to this, that when you talk about cough remedies, you don't treat every cough the same. And we have different kinds of coughs because, and you guys know, like, when you have a cough where it's productive, it's wet, it's phlegmy, like when you cough, you are expectorating, things are coming out. And so when that is going on, the goal is to transform the phlegm. We want to decrease the amount of stuff that you are having to cough up. Then, am I saying this right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. When you have phlegm, you want to get it out.
And you want to transform it, and like it blew my mind when I thought about like, oh, there's a bunch of like moisture in my lungs. So if I can do things to sweat and urinate, it will pull the moisture out of my body and help to get the moisture out of my lungs. We just don't think about that kind of thing as Westerners. But I think it's really cool because it's cool because it's just another strategy. All my life, every time I had a wet cough, I thought that the only way to get it out was to just like pack it up.
Yeah. That's a great point that there's other ways to get it up. And I think it's really important just to start paying attention, like you said, to the different types of cough, right? Like, do you feel like something's stuck in your lungs and you can't get it out? Like, there's phlegm in there, but every time you cough, it's just dry and horsey. Like, then you want to liquefy it. Like, there are things that you can do to take that step to even turn it into liquid. So then you can pull it out however it comes out through whatever orifice you want your phlegm to come out.
Okay. So we were talking about coughs. And yeah, I think we have to evaluate what kind of cough we have because I think the important thing that I wanted to say, we've had some recording issues, guys. So this is like the third time I've said this. Third time's a charm, that we are conditioned to, or at least I have been conditioned to think that like coughing is bad. If I have a cough, I need to stop the cough. I need to turn it off. And the truth is that is true, and it's a good idea to do something to stop the cough if all I'm doing is coughing. If it's just spasms in my chest and I'm coughing and I'm in pain and there's no mucus that I need to get out, yeah, by all means, let's like do some things to make ourselves comfortable and turn that cough off. But if there is mucus in the chest, whether it's mobile or stagnant, the cough serves a purpose. The purpose of the cough is to get the mucus, the phlegm out. And phlegm is, think about like the insides of your lungs with the phlegm in there. We're talking about this warm, dark, wet place. It's a perfect breeding ground for things like fungus and bacteria. So we want to do what we can to get that out. And the coughing is good. We don't want to stop the cough. We want to do the things that we can to assist the mobility of the stuff that the cough is trying to get out. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And there are situations where you might want to suppress a cough, like if it's from spasming and you can't stop, it's not productive, there's no phlegm, and you were just spasming, and so we might turn it off to give you a break. But like Alicia said, the cough serves a purpose. It's a function. It's trying to get something out of your body that is irritating it. So whenever we work with people that have cold, we assess what type of colds they have. Is it wet or dry? Is it productive or unproductive? What color is the phlegm? All of these things are going to give us really good information that's going to help us pick better remedies to assist this person's cough. If somebody has a slimy cough and you give them wet, slimy herbs, that is going to put the balance the wrong way. We're going to make things worse. And I think this is a shortcoming of Western herbalism, is you will just see herbs categorized for coughs, for colds. And there's no distinction for what type of cough or what type of cold or what it actually does. What action is this herb taking in the body? Why are we bringing it in? Is it a cough suppressant? Is it to support the lung tissue? Is it to liquefy the mucus? Is it to make you cough, to help you expectorate, to give your body something to, get out? So I think that's just a really important distinction, and you will be way more successful working with your own coughs if you pay attention to these things.
So tell us about your favorite cough remedy.
I'm like, we already did that, but we didn't because we were recording. Okay. So I learned about this remedy a while back, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, I bought some and I wanted to get a cough so I could use it. Like, that's how cool I found it. And it is the cough syrup of Ayurveda, except it's a powder, and it's called Sitopoladi. And Sitopoladi does a couple things really well. It liquefies your mucus and it helps you cough it up. And I don't know about you, but when I take it, which is mostly just for fun, I just put the powder straight in my mouth and kind of like let it dissolve and swallow it down. But it's a little bit like taking the cinnamon challenge. Like, if you are not skilled about it, you will cough. Like, you will like huff powder, cough, and it'll cause its own set of issues. But it's such a cool formula. It's so amusing to me. And even if I'm like congested, or it's like sinuses, or like, geez, and there's just stuff I want out, I will use the Sitopoladi. And then there's an alternative to the formula, Talasadi, which is very similar formula, except it's more warming and heating ingredients in it. So if you have a fever, it'll help you do a little more sweating to, release the exterior like we were talking about. Banyan Botanicals carries both of them. Gary and Sons carries both of them. And they are just, I find them so amusing.
Hey man, I love any remedy that tastes like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Yeah, it tastes good.
I mean, Sitopoladi churna is like, tastes like dessert, man. If you if you're the kind of person who likes chai. Yeah. And I like chai. But no, I mean, it's got the bamboo mana in it, which really helps to suppress the cough, and then it's got all the spices. I mean, it's fantastic. If there's definitely, and you touched on it, there is a learning curve, or maybe an art or a skill to be developed for putting powders in your mouth so that you don't inhale the powders. And it is very finely powdered. It does have cinnamon in it. So, use with caution if you're putting the powder straight in your mouth. But if you don't want to do that, you can stir it into a little bit of warm water and drink it. You'll get the same effects.
Yeah. When I first got it, like I tried it and was like, oh, cinnamon challenge. And then I made everyone else around me and little sister Quinn, all the people start taking it. And it was just like really amusing because it was like doing the cinnamon challenge we did in middle school. But this one has benefits.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic for times that you have mucus, but it's not moving. You're coughing and you can feel it like maybe trying, like it's caught, it's trying to get loose. This is going to help to liquefy that mucus so that the cough can do its job and expectorate it out of your body.
And it does it really well. Like you take it 10 to 15 minutes later, like everything's coming up.
You just
and
start
one
coughing,
thing I think,
like,
oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think it's really important to mention, like, that stuff needs to come out.
Mm-hmm.
That is toxic in your body. You don't want it. So if you are sitting there swallowing your phlegm, swallowing your gross cough mucus, like, because you're embarrassed to spit it out, get it out, like, don't do that. You're going to give your body more to deal with. Get it out, spit it out, cough it out. Don't let it build up in your body.
Yeah, it's get it out and let it come out. It's coming out for a reason. So the next one would be for like, I've got too much mucus. Like I've got all this mucus. It's coming out constantly. Like there's just too much of it. It's mobile, but there's too much of it. So then my strategy is going to be to dry it out, sweat it out, and urinate it out. Like I'm going to try and get it out as many different ways as I can. And my favorite for this is Cubeb. Like I used Cubeb for the first time this last year. It's long-tailed pepper. And so it's a pepper plant. And by the way, all pepper plants are drying. All pepper plants are diuretic, meaning they make you urinate. So this helps to get excess moisture, excess damp out of the body. And that, so if I'm coughing, or if you are coughing with anyone who is coughing and just like there's all kinds of phlegm coming out, Cubeb is a great choice for drying it out and getting it out through other avenues so that you're not just constantly hacking things up. I also like Ajwain. Ajwain's very heating. It's very drying. It's also diuretic. Both of these things have a probab or an affinity for the lung tissue. So it helps to... Cubeb was something that they used to use. I didn't even think about this until just now. Think about, in the turn of the last century, like early 1900s, before people had asthma inhalers, you used to be able to go to the pharmacy or the drugstore and purchase a pack of Cubeb cigarettes. And instead of taking a hit off of an asthma inhaler, you light up a Cubeb cigarette, take a couple of drags, it opens up the lungs, allows you to breathe.
The other cool thing about Cubeb is it's also going to give you like adrenal tonifying energy benefits. Like it will start replenishing your energy centers.
And I 100% agree, but I'll give a caveat there that you will never find that in, there's going to be people who disagree with us there. And you won't find that written in any book unless it's a book that our mentor wrote. That's something he found through his clinical experience, that Cubeb has tonifying properties in the adrenal glands.
Okay. Cubeb, Ajwain as a tea together, that sounds like a great approach for drying excess mucus. I love the plug for peppers as well. Like all peppers in general. I think that's a great option.
We got 3 more things that we can hit on.
Yeah.
You want to go? You want me to go?
I don't think of Colt's foot as an antispasmodic.
It turns the cough off. You ever used it?
No, I don't get coughs.
Oh man, there was a Chinese pharmacy, or there is a Chinese pharmacy, one of the Chinese pharmacies that I will frequent. And they carried this jar of cough syrup that had colt's foot in it. And it was the most amazing thing. I mean, it was like your usual fritillary and loquat and had a little platycodin for an antiviral. But the first ingredient was colt's foot. And of course, I have no idea what it was called because these were before the days of AI and all of the writing on it was in Mandarin. So I couldn't like take a picture and have it translated. They don't carry it anymore. I'm always, anytime I go into a Chinese pharmacy, I'm looking for it because I'm convinced that was the thing. Like this stuff you took for a natural remedy, it was so amazing. It was like you took a tablespoon of it and you didn't cough for 6 hours and you could be hacking your guts up. Like it just turns the cough right off.
And I don't doubt that it has antispasmodic properties. I think of colt's foot as just like a great general cough, lung, does a little bit of everything, right? It's probably going to give you a little bit of expectoration. It's probably going to give you a little bit of, it's demulcent, like it's going to be slimy. It's just a banger of an all around cough herb. What?
No, I'm smiling and agreeing with you. Like colt's foot
Just
is
a banger of an herb.
it's a banger. It's a banger. And then the next one would be Corydalis. And this is again like back to where like, man, you're just coughing and nothing is happening and you want to go to sleep, but your chest hurts and you know, you're waking up coughing. The Corydalis is an antispasmodic. It can give you some comfort. Like, you can't get good cough medicine anymore. You used to get that good cough medicine with codeine. Nobody will give it to you anymore. The Corydalis is my replacement.
Alice is a great choice. And then I think we're gonna talk about I haven't had the need for it. So you tell us about your experience with
I mean, it's
this
like
herb.
miracle stuff. Vasaka is miracle stuff. And so this is an Ayurvedic herb that like wasn't even available to us until, you know, maybe in the last 10 years. It wasn't something that, you know, was being shipped to the States. It's a little detoxifying. It's a leafy green. It's a leafy green plant. I think it's I should have done a little more research. I think it's like a leaf from a tree, but regardless, it's green and it's amazing. You can only get it in powder form. And I put you can make tea out of it. I just put the powder in water and slug it down. And any tightness, I mean, it dilates the bronchioles and tonifies the lung tissue. So any tightness, any difficulty breathing, it's immediate. You take enough Vasaka and you ingest it and it's almost immediate, just like within minutes. It's like things open up and you can take a full deep breath. And if anyone has ever not been able to take a full deep breath, you know how amazing it is to suddenly be able to take a full deep breath. And I mean, it's just miracle stuff.
I love it. I will honorable mention elecampane because I think it does similar things. If you can't find Vasaka, I would say that might be like a runner-up and a great just overall cough remedy. We're just like rapid fire herb.
Well,
It's a lot. I bet it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I want to be clear too, because I thought about this. Like, if this is information overload, it's okay. Keep listening. We talk about a lot of, this isn't the first time we've talked about Vasaka. It's not the first time we've talked about Sitopoladi churna. And, all of this is really just general across the board, cold and flu advice. If you want individualized support, we're available for individualized support and we can help you narrow these things down and find something that's just right for you. It's not, everybody doesn't want to, not everyone wants to get deep in the weeds with this stuff like we do. I mean, this is my passion. This is what I love. I could talk about herbs all day. And, but it's, if I look back to when I first started getting into herbal remedies, 15 years ago, this would have been overwhelming for me. And so, don't get overwhelmed. Take what you can. You don't leave the rest. And know that there's lots of resources available to you. And, and we're here to help. And there are other people here to help.
Great point. One of the things I really try to do with clients is, because, the goal is not somebody seeing you every day for the rest of their lives, right? Like,
Right.
The goal is you get them into balance and they come off and check in periodically and, that's that. I try to help people like build a toolbox
Yeah.
of like, all right, you're going to use this herb. We're going to teach you how to use this herb. You're going to get really good with this herb. It's in your toolbox now. Because sometimes you're going to be able to put it down. You're not going to need it right now. And sometimes you'll be able to pick it up. So I think like when you think about, oh, it's a cold and flu. Do I want to go book an appointment and pay a fee for, you know, this one cold and flu? I think that the benefits of like starting to build out your toolbox is huge. And anytime you go and you work with a practitioner like who does the work we do, you are getting to build your toolbox. And like these are things that you get to kind of keep with you, which I think is just the magic of the work.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not just, I don't just meet with people and give them remedies. You know, I meet with people and I coach and I teach. I teach them how to take care of themselves and solve their own problem. And that's
Okay.
just that's what I want to do. I want to, you know, empower people to serve themselves. That's all.
I was going to talk about some of our food remedies, but I think what we should do is save it. And next episode, we do like a food like eating herbs and food, like a little more like, you know, we talk about our jalapeno pancakes and like we dedicate a whole episode to those kinds of things. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. Like
We're well over the hour.
You want to do foods for cold and flu or foods for food remedies in general?
I think it's just yeah, like maybe like we can using more food as medicine or using more herbs in food or like, you know, something like that where we can kind of like share some things. Like maybe we kind of go through a bunch of different, you know, from Oja's beverages to jalapeno pancakes, like just kind of show what's possible.
Yeah. Eggplant.
Eggplant.
You guys don't even
baba
know
ganoush
why
this
we're
week.
talking about eggplant. You'll find out next time. I like it. It's a great idea.
Okay, perfect. Because we are well over an hour, but I think this was fun. And if you take one takeaway, it's that Sitopoladi is really fun.
That, and I mean, I wanted to say, I do want to like really emphasize that y'all, the most important thing. Yeah, you're sick. You're getting the cold. You're getting the flu. You have the cold. You have the flu. No matter what you do, go to bed. Rest. Like just rest. That is, you get stronger when you rest. Your body regenerates and rejuvenates when you're sleeping. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. We don't do it enough. Rest and allow your body to heal. Yeah, that's
Yes.
I can't. I
Let
just
your body.
I can't emphasize it enough. Go to bed.
Yeah, let your body work it out under the sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that we share some good information. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I hope that people use this and it helps their cold and flu season be a little less disruptive this season. If they even hear this, because we said the C word too many times.
Yeah, I don't know. We might get canceled. But if we don't get canceled and you enjoy this episode, send this episode to one person with a cough or a sore throat or the sniffles. I know you know someone who has the cold right now. You know someone who has chronic bronchitis and just can't quite get over that. So yeah, share this with someone who needs it. And if you have any questions, reach out to us, email us, hit us up on Instagram. And I'm determined, y'all. I'm gonna like do some things on Instagram coming soon. So yeah, thank you. Thank you
Yay.
everyone for listening, and we'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Herbalism Uncensored. We're genuinely humbled by the love and support you've shown us. If you've been enjoying the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review if you feel called, and don't hesitate to reach out. Whether it's with a question, a success story, or a topic you'd love us to explore in a future episode.